So, hello, I'm here again. Hello to anyone who's new from that last video, or who's an old viewer. I guess I just wanted to talk about, the sort of bizarrely, dysfunctional state of my college's social life. And the exact college that I go to, I'm not going to say it in this video, but you can find it out pretty easily. I've said it before. Anyway, I don't know if it's actually unique to just my school or not. I have a feeling that it will be relatable to some people, but it's unlike anything I had seen before. And when I was in high school, I was also like a dual enrollment student at a community college, and even that wasn't like this. Basically, what really made me start keeping track of how weird socializing was here was the other day, or I guess it was actually more like a week ago at this point. I think it was exactly a week ago. I got out of class, or sorry, the teacher gave us permission to leave class, and everybody just rushed out. Nobody was even talking to each other, just everybody left. Keep in mind this is college, which is the place known for this, this crazy social environment. And everyone just left class without a word. It was like high school, but even when I was in high school, there would still always be at least a few people talking to each other while leaving. This was like high school, except somehow even worse in that regard. And I think at that point is when I realized I probably am not going to have that good of a chance of making friends naturally here. Because I don't think that many people actually want to make friends. Or are at the very... I mean, I'm sure people want to make friends, even those people who just rushed out of class immediately. But they aren't willing to, spend the extra 10 seconds inside the classroom to, talk to each other. Which I understand. It's how I kind of feel as well. But I was willing to sort of bend that a little bit so I can start making friends. So I guess my conclusion is, yeah, most people here don't want to make friends that bad. And I've met a few who do. Very, very few. But most people don't, which is frustrating because it's not only do you have to sort of try to be social in general, but you also have to get lucky that you meet people who also want to be social and make friends. And I feel like it just leads to a lot of encounters where other people don't really reciprocate the same level of politeness or enthusiasm that you would have towards trying to become friends with them. Which probably makes it, hurt more. Well, I don't know why I'm saying probably, it definitely does. Anyway, like I said, I don't know if that's a unique thing here, but what I will say is, I'm by far the youngest in my well, that's not true, but I'm the youngest on, I guess, my mom's side of the family. And pretty much, my brother and my cousin also were both in college, 9 years ago and 7 years ago when they started. So, my brother, to be fair, he went to what was known as a party school, but even then, it still seems kind of it was almost like how they say in the movies, My brother is also fairly introverted like I am, but just within a few days, people literally just knocked on his door and were like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" And then, they would hang out and become friends. And like I said, I know that well, no, I guess I didn't say this in this video, but I blame a lot of, I guess the decaying social state of the world on COVID and just technology. And I wonder if, most of this is my school in specific, or if it is just people being socially awkward because of what's happened in the last few years. Anyway, like I said, my brother did not have an experience like this at all. You know, people were actually just sort of almost the psychotic type of extrovert, where they just talk to everyone. And then I think my cousin, she had a similar experience, kind of. Didn't make friends that easily, probably because, you know, she didn't go to some insane party school, but still met some people in a very, I guess, organic way like that, or just a very effortless way. Now, like I said, there's definitely a lot of people here who do want to make friends. And I guess I'm going to talk about that aspect now. The few people I have met, I have gotten lucky meeting. Like, first of all, it's somebody who I brought up in a video who, like, said that most people here wouldn't even give him the time of day to, like, talk to him or listen to him talk, which was pretty sad, but I ended up not actually becoming friends with that guy because he's, like, over a decade older than me, and he offered me drugs, and, like, he doesn't even go to the school anymore. So, of course, you know, someone who didn't want to make friends ends up being problematic like that. Anyway, besides that, here's the interesting thing. The people who work on the stores, sort of on campus here, I've had more social interactions with than the people I'm in classes with. Basically, like, the guy who works at the convenience store most of the time. We do have a convenience store on campus. I just remember I would buy usually some of the same things, and I remember one thing in specific, like, wouldn't scan properly, so he would always have to type it in manually on the computer, and I mentioned it one time, and then he starts, like, explaining how, well, he starts explaining in detail how if an item doesn't scan, or there's some items that don't scan, and then he does have to type it in manually, or he has to grab, like, a item that's the same price and scan that instead and shit like that. And the dude seemed almost, like, happy to talk about it, even though he was just talking about his job. And it was cool talking to someone, just in general, but I felt bad, because it's like he's been waiting just to explain how his job works, and then that kind of left my mind for a while, that experience. I didn't really think about it that much. But then yesterday, I went to, like, a restaurant on campus, and basically I went to order. The guy working there... Sorry, I think somebody above me just flushed their toilet. Anyway. The guy working there asked my name like you would normally at that kind of restaurant. I give it to him, and my name is slightly, I guess, slightly complicated. Like, most people, when they hear it, they think that I said a different name. Or they make me repeat it a bunch. This guy got it correct the first time, so I'm like, okay. I said, you know, like, thanks for getting my name right. He's like, oh, like, how do people normally spell it? I explain, like, oh, it's less that they spell it wrong, more that just, you know, they have to make me repeat it. And then, even though, like, he's working his job, and there's, like, other people around also ordering, he starts talking to me about how his name is spelled and how people constantly misspell it. And he starts writing down on, like, the back of my ticket all the different ways that people misspell his name. And once again, I was happy to hear it, but it's, like, depressing, because, like I said, I'm just gonna come to sort of my conclusion now. And once again, anybody watching, let me know if you have, like, a similar experience at, I guess, your school or, you know, college or place of work. This is a conclusion that I've come to. It's like the majority of people don't really want to socialize that bad, but then there's a bunch of people who are like me who really, really want to make friends. and not be, I guess, like a social outcast in a way. But it's like there isn't enough of us for it to be that functional. Once again, I guess that's the problem with going to just like a small college like this that is kind of known for not being that social. I didn't realize that until I got here. Anyway. And then there's, of course, a few people I've met. Actually, literally one person who is just straight up super social and talks to everyone and doesn't struggle with making friends. There's definitely quite a few of those here as well, but not as many as the other demographics. Anyway, I think I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but if I really want to make friends, I think I have an idea for how I'm going to do it. Since I've come to the conclusion, just going to classes, I've gone to a couple clubs, it doesn't really work just because, like I said, I believe it is kind of specifically my school. Anyway, I'll explain exactly what this is if I end up doing it. But I do have a slightly odd way that I'm pretty sure would work in terms of socializing. So I might pull the trigger on that at some point. But yeah, conclusion is a lot of people don't care about being social. Not enough people do care to actually all find each other and like function that well socially. And then there's a few people who don't fall into either category. But either way, it just feels very weird that some people are so just quick to try to get away from people, and then some people, like the employees at the jobs, will be like that delighted just for a slight conversation. I don't really know like what I was trying to accomplish with this video. It's just something that I've noticed, and I hope that that changes because I feel bad. I guess slightly bad for myself as well. Anyway. Oops, did not mean to do that. I'm going to end this video. This video kind of sucked, I feel like. But hopefully somebody watched it and enjoyed it, and maybe if you have a really bizarre social situation at your school, or once again, just your place of employment as well, you can relate to what I've said. So, anyway, goodbye.